At the heart of our education system is the individual student. Students come in all shapes and sizes. A student could be male or female, a kindergartner or a senior in high school, black or white or Hispanic. No matter the age, race, or gender, each student, by law, is entitled to receive a quality education. Sounds simple, right? Not so fast. Let's take a look at a few students. Meet Felicia. Felicia is a freshman at Dante Alighieri High School. She's good at math, and she loves her music theory class. She's a strong student that works hard to get good grades. However, Felicia gets very frustrated when she is forced to work with other students. She wants to have differentiated classes where she doesn't have to help her dumb classmates. Meet Maria. Maria is a sophomore at Gardner High. As a second language learner, Maria struggles in her English class. Her language skills are not up to grade level, but she doesn't have time to work on her English outside of class. When she's not in school, Maria spends her time working and taking care of her younger brothers. Maria's teacher feels bad for her and lets her off the hook, telling her that she doesn't have to pass the end of the year test. Her classmates complain, "It's not fair! Everybody should have to take the same tests." Meet Jose. Jose is a third grader at Big Otter School. He's bright, but is constantly getting in trouble for talking out of turn and bullying other students. His mom wants the school to teach the way she thinks, but that issue comes later. 3 different students, 3 very different needs. Multiply that by 15 million, and you will understand just how difficult it is to come up with a plan that meets the needs of all of these students. People say that a good teacher can cater to the individual needs of all students, even in a class of 30. Good teachers sure do try, but it ain't easy, that's for sure. Let's take a look at a couple of teachers. Meet Mrs. O'Blair. Mrs. O'Blair is determined to get her second graders to master mathematics. After working with the same curriculum for several years and not seeing much progress, Mrs. O'Blair decides to try a more innovative approach. Instead of having students memorize math facts, Mrs. O'Blair tries to get students to explore the material. What Mrs. O'Blair doesn't realize is that her so-called new teaching methods don't actually support exploration. Students are still just memorizing the facts. While Mrs. O'Blair thinks her teaching is new and innovative, she hasn't really changed anything. Meet Lori Cabot. Lori is a first-year English teacher at Gardner High School. As the new teacher, she has the hardest course load. When she sees that her 10th grade students are not engaged, Miss Cabot turns to her fellow teachers for support. She's met with disdain, and not a single teacher offers to help. Alone, she decides to try cooperative learning. But her students are not used to working together, and things soon turn ugly. Meet John Sweet. John is a 3rd grade teacher at Big Otter School. He's noticed that Jose and his other 3rd graders have been bullying each other using slurs such as gay. Mr. Sweet talks with his fellow teachers and decides to teach his students about homosexuality and acceptance. In class, they read the book And Tango Makes Three. The lesson is a success, or so he thinks. The following day, Mr. Sweet is attacked by Jose's mother for teaching inappropriate material. His school principal agrees with Jose's mother and does not support his teaching methods. John is disheartened and frustrated. 3 good teachers, 3 very good intentions. Multiply that by 1,000,000, and you get 3,000,000 teachers with good intentions. But as they say, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. If teachers are trying so hard to do what's right for their students, why aren't our schools more successful? Let's blame the school leaders. Meet Peter Troutman. Peter is the new principal of San Bernardo High School. His high-need students seem to be misplaced or missing, and his teachers are struggling to improve test scores in heterogeneous classes. Mr. Troutman decides to overhaul the schedule and form homogeneous classes. But is that enough to make things better? A number of teachers and students complain. They hate the new changes. Should he leave everything as it was? Or should he push for change without having support? Humanities Prep Academy is a school that has been carefully built to address the needs of a group of students. The staff at Humanities Prep has worked hard to make sure that their project and portfolio-based assessment system is well designed to meet the needs of their students. Instead of spending time preparing for state tests, Humanities Prep uses their own system to prepare students for the future. However, a new law just passed that requires all students to take a state assessment test. This new test goes completely against the mission of Humanities Prep. Teachers do not want to give up on all of their hard work, but the state assessment leaves no choice. Should they stand up for their beliefs? Should they restructure the school to fit the required assessment? Should they close the school? Meet Frank Harvey. Frank is the principal of Big Otter School. He too wants what's best for the students. But when parents are outraged at John's lesson on homosexuality, Mr. Harvey sides with parents. After all, he needs their support so that they keep their kids in his school. Who should he support? The parents or the teachers? School leaders also seem to be working hard to do what's best for their students. Perhaps the responsibility of educating children does not lie solely on the teachers and administrators, but on the parents and community as a whole. After all, parents are the ones who choose where to send their children to school. Are parents helping shape better schools? Let's take a look at a few. Meet Felicia's mother, Miss Jackson. Felicia's mother is a bright woman who wants what's best for her child. Her vision of success is one where her daughter is awarded for the hard work at school with the opportunity to attend a prestigious college. Felicia's mother was excited by the chance to let Felicia attend Summit Academy. Summit is well known for pushing students to excel and has a high rate of students attending top-tier colleges. Unfortunately, Felicia was not picked in the lottery for Summit Academy. Instead, her daughter is enrolled in Success House. While Success House will encourage her daughter to appreciate diversity, Felicia's mother wishes that it spent more time pushing students to excel academically. Should Felicia's mother be forced to support a school vision that she doesn't appreciate? Meet Jose's mother, Mrs. Vasquez. Mrs. Vasquez is very involved in the school and serves on the local school board. She is a devout Catholic and has raised her family according to her faith. Mrs. Vasquez is outraged that her child's teacher, Mr. Sweet, is teaching about homosexuality in school. She wants to support the school, but cannot condone this type of education. Is it Jose's mother's responsibility to step in and monitor what is being taught in the schools? Clearly, these parents are concerned about the welfare of their children. Perhaps the issue lies at a larger level. Maybe the leaders pushing for changes in education are not doing enough. Let's take a look at a few examples. Meet the United States Congress. In 2001, Congress passed the No Child Left Behind Act. NCLB mandated high-stakes standardized testing as a way of making schools accountable for the academic achievement of their students. In theory, this law was supposed to push failing schools to improve. Unfortunately, without the knowledge of how to improve, neither students nor schools seem to be getting better. Meet Secretary of Education Arne Duncan. Along with other political leaders, Duncan has started a number of initiatives that on paper are very logical. Standardized curriculum, accountability systems, teacher development programs, etc. Yet, these initiatives butt heads against schools that are not prepared for change, and teachers that are struggling to overcome local problems. How do you create policy efforts without the support of the end users? In education, the devil is in the details. At the end of the day, it is very easy to point fingers at the various sectors of education. Perhaps the problem lies with the students. Perhaps the reason our schools are not improving is because of the teachers and administrators. Perhaps the community is not supportive enough to help our schools succeed. Perhaps the problem lies in the failure of national leaders. At the end of the day, the institutions are connected. It is not the responsibility of one sector. Rather, all players must put forth a consolidated effort to help Maria and her fellow students. In order to do that, we must first decide, how do we reform the schools? Do we reform the system from the inside out? Do we start with the students and work out towards the larger institutions? Or do we reform the system starting with the outside ring and work our way in towards the students? We must also decide, should we tweak the current system, making small adjustments that build over time? Or should we blow it up and start from scratch? What about you? What would you do to fix our education system?